Do you think that the vice president needs to be more out there talking to reporters, talking about issues in a give and take, not just in speeches?
I think she should say what I just said in that sentence. She should be herself. She should be ready. She should know her power in all of this.
She's stumping. She's doing the day job and stumping in all the critical battleground states. So we'll get to the media interviews soon enough.
And Trump has an interesting theory on why Harris has been dodging the press.
The reason she's not doing what I do and she's not doing what she should be doing, she won't even do interviews with friendly people because she can't do better than Biden. Now, he had a reason for not doing well.
You know, Nancy Pelosi says that Kamala Harris, Jesse, should be herself. But someone who wants to be commander-in-chief needs to be ready at the very moment to make a decision, to address the nation. It's taking her weeks to bone up on whatever she's boning up on to beat the press.
She's not a real presidential candidate. Kamala's a princess. And the ruling class is going to protect and elect her, and then we're just going to have a secret cabal of people make all the decisions.
Kabbalah.
What is
with a K?
Her Highness's vision on Taiwan, AI? Doesn't matter, Judge. She can just make it up. It's also a secret. We're just going to find out after she's president. Why would they do this? Well, they're not following any of the other rules. We've had these rules for 250 years. All of a sudden, doesn't matter anymore. You can just arrest your opponent. You can gag him. You can almost get him assassinated. And then you can depose the current president and anoint a new one. It's easy now. You can't let her walk. That's the problem. Because when you let her walk on her own, she falls. And she might hurt herself. So we have to pick her up and we have to swaddle her and we have to put her in her crib and put her down for her nap. And if you'd like an interview, I'm sorry, she's resting now. She can't be bothered, peasant. They're going to have her going from a plane to a teleprompter, like a crib to a flashcard. And that's how it's going to be. Why talk policies, Judge, when the policies are unpopular? Why talk policies when she doesn't even know what the policies are? She'd rather just play make-believe and make up the policies, and then we can find out later what these policies are. She has her little security blanket, Tampon Tim, and they are running a campaign of joy. And those other guys are just weird. Ew. P.U. It's like Paris Hilton is going to be president. She's probably going to win the debate because all she has to do is do a little bit better than Joe Biden, and that's not that hard. And she's probably going to say, that little girl was me. And then she's going to get endorsed by Taylor Swift, and they're going to throw her a big Sweet 16 party. Who cares if we're going to go to war with Russia? Or the cities crumble and the border goes away. It doesn't matter. I am sick of democracy. It's boring. I'd rather be ruled by royalty.
All right, Harold, you know, if you go to their website, all right, there are 7 buttons, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. There are 7 buttons where you can actually donate. There is not one, or let me put it better, there are 0 pages on policy. How do you even donate for a presidential candidate when you don't know what they stand for?
I think it's good to be back.
Okay. Other than that, how do you donate if you don't know what they stand for?
They're going to have to populate that website. They're going to have to populate the campaign with ideas and a vision. I've said that over and over again. The debate will be probably the first time, even if she puts all of this information up, and I think she should, Judge. I think you're right. Whether she puts it up before September 10th or not, the debate will be an opportunity for Donald Trump, for the questioners and for Vice President Harris, but particularly for President Trump to query and question her on her record. Now, I listen to Jesse, and I don't think anyone's coddling her. I think she has figured out a way to get this campaign going. 4 weeks ago, she was not in the campaign. She has a tremendous amount of momentum, but I am not naive to the fact that once we have engagement here on the issues, she's going to have a challenge.
When's that going to be, Harold?
But here's the thing: you should direct some of your ire.
When are the issues going to be spoken about?
You should direct some of your ire at your
I don't have ire. I'm looking forward to Princess Kamala. I think it's going to be great.
You should.
Her and Doug can walk around Washington, and they can go have a spa day, and we can just find out what happens to the country while watching the news.
Look, if I had to defend your spot, I'd be interrupting me too. Here's the thing: you have a presidential candidate on the Republican side, where an in-house newspaper, my favorite newspaper, the Wall Street Journal, editorialized today that President Trump airs personal grievances and impulsive floundering on issues instead of laying out his plan. He attacks Brian Kemp, someone he will need in Georgia. He congratulates Vladimir Putin, someone we're at war helping our friends to eject from another country. All I say to you is, if you believe that Kamala Harris, and Judge, you're right, there's no substance there in terms of ideas for how she's going to solve problems. You know what I would be doing if I were running against her? I'd be supplying ideas. I'd be laying out my vision instead of doing the same thing he's been doing for the last 10 years. I think she has caught up with him for a variety of reasons. Number one, it's not Joe Biden. Number two, I called Donald Trump 3 months ago the greatest political athlete I had seen in politics. He is not measuring up to that title any longer. This candidate on the Democratic side is in his head. He is unsettled by her. He's unnerved by her. And he has not figured out substantively how to campaign himself. As much as you may be right about what she's doing and what she's not doing, your candidate is doing even worse.
The truth is that, Shannon, that the president talks about issues unlike what Harold is representing. He talks about the border. He talks about the economy. He talks about crime. He talks about what's going on in the Middle East, how he made the Abraham Accords, and we're on the verge of a world war in the Middle East, a world war as a result of what's going on. But the truth is, you know, he is getting his word out, and yet Democrats are saying, no, he isn't.
Well, I think with their number one goal so far, the message has been, we're not Trump. I mean, because if we're not getting into policy yet, and it's not on the website, and they haven't done the interviews, and they're not really talking about the minutia of policy on the campaign trail, it is, as Jesse said, it's joyful. They're happy warriors, and look at this, you know, team go. So how long does the honeymoon last? Does it puncture to get to policy? She said by the end of the month. So a month after becoming the nominee, maybe we're going to have a sit-down interview from her. In the meantime, if I'm advising her, I say, just keep doing this. It's working. You have an adoring media. You have people who are not pressing you on what appear to be changes in positions and those kinds of things. It may be the debate is the first time that they get to that. But in the meantime, I wouldn't change anything if I was her. It's working. Her unfavorables are down. Her favorables are up 12 points just since she's been named to the ticket. So why change it if it's working?
You know, Greg, it's interesting that here she is, the VP today. We have a president who disappeared after the overthrow, that quiet coup behind closed doors. And yet she still isn't trying to fill his shoes as vice president, saying, you know, we had a hostage return. We've got a storm coming in, whatever. She doesn't get out there.
Well, she doesn't have to right now. I want to look at the big picture here because Harold did bring up, I understand Harold's point about discipline, but you can't expect a political experience from somebody who is never going to be a politician. And Trump is never going to be a politician. He wasn't raised as one. He doesn't act like one. He did a 70-minute relentless question and answer period. What should be gained from that? Like when you walk away from that, you can go, God, I wish you would rein that in. But the thing is, the one thing that you saw, if let's say with the 5, we have millions of viewers. A lot of them don't like Trump and a lot of them are Democrats. So they're listening to me tell you why this matters. He's engaged. And that's really necessary right now. All of the pistons are working. He was there for 70 minutes. He answered every question. You can tell that he's going to be like that with everything because he is. There's not that phony engagement of the establishment politician where they say exactly enough. It's neat and it's tidy and it's almost impossible to remember what they said after they said it. Politicians are trained to say nothing, you know, and he can't do that. He never got that training. So I think when you're watching vintage Trump, you have to realize that this is how he's going to be in meetings with people who aren't friendly to the United States or people who want something from America and we demand scrutiny and reciprocity. So just replace the media with all those people. He's not a figurehead. So if you're looking at him, you're going, I can't stand it. He's not a figurehead. He's an agent. He's your agent. He's America's lawyer. He's in the room there to represent his client, America, your needs and your concerns. He's supposed to be an asshole. You know, he's not interested in impressing the other people in the room. I want an agent or a lawyer with that relentless energy that makes people upset. And the country needs that. We've had 4 years of perk-hungry elites who are there for the pomp and not for the people. So it's kind of, you have to look at this stuff as a necessity, that this guy is going to be that way in a room with people that have been screwing us over forever? Do you want him or do you want Kamala? Who do you want in that room? You want the guy that nobody likes because they don't like him for a reason.
And do you want 77 seconds or 77 minutes?
By the way, Judge, congratulations on being made Starfleet commander.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thanks. Now you hate this. Now I'll never wear it again. Up next, so you don't look so hot yourself.